Most countries. Shalom, Israel. We are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. We've been on these streets since 1969 trying to teach blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians their true heritage inside of the scriptures. Okay. We've been trying to teach blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians all across this earth, right? That the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel are blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Okay, but the people you call the Native Indians are actually the true chosen people of God. Okay? And those people that were, okay, those children that are over in Canada whose bodies they're discovering, whose bodies they're basically exhuming, right? Those are the children of God. Those are God's children that they're exhuming. And it was God's chosen people that they killed inside of these schools. That these Catholic priests killed the children of people of God inside of these learning institutions. And like, never let that slide because the Most High won't. Like, you use your evil and your lie to hurt my children. Like, understand, it's like somebody saying they're your biggest fan, yet they're going to go behind your back and hate your children and be evil towards your children and deny your children you. Right? Now, evil that would sound like, imagine, okay, who's a famous father's son in Israel? Imagine I'm a Will Smith fan and I go to Willow and Jade and be like, you're not his kids. And I beat the hell out of them. But while I'm wearing a Will Smith shirt, I got Fresh Prince written on my Air Forces. I'm wearing Men in Black shirt, right? And I'm beating the hell out of Jaden and Willow, right? That's how it looks when the Catholic Church demeans our people. That's how it's always looked. The conquistadors look stupid. The conquistadors are evil for what they're doing. What's called? Those are the, like, no different than the Baptists, than the Southern Baptists during Judaic slavery. No different than the other denominations. I'm not too familiar with England's religious system. I know they're Christian, but I'm not sure denomination-wise what they are. So no different than those that were rolling up our brothers in the West Indies. Y'all want to say y'all love our Father, but y'all don't want to acknowledge we're his children. Right. So you look stupid. You look evil. And we're going to get that too because it shows, like, the Native Americans, like, were able to go into their records and be like, yeah, these people are hypocrites. They were able to go into the law and say, basically, we're going to read it in here. Chief basically said, yeah, these cats, like, the Bible, like, basically looked in the Bible and said, there's nothing wrong with these laws, except for the fact that these idiots believe the rich and powerful don't have to keep it. Meaning, you as a poor person that can't murder, I can do whatever the hell I want because I'm rich. Right? And we're going to find out how this all started, how we got in a position like this. This is a book by the name of William Warren called Black Indians, A Hidden Heritage. This book goes into the history between blacks and Hispanics, okay, blacks and the indigenous Americans, right, prior to Columbus, well, prior to today, right? Okay, this is a study showing our history as a cohesive unit, and we're going to find out where this history started to begin. It began with Columbus. This is page 27. For the people of the Americas, the arrival of Columbus was hardly a blessing. On his first day, October 12th, 1492, give me Psalm 55. The explorer wrote in his diary, I took some of the natives by force. What is that? Okay, so, okay, what does that mean? God took some of the natives by force.
I mean, sir.
Come.
He was killing them. He was aggressive.
Well, in that instance, he's not killing.
He's raping?
No, not raping. I took some of the natives by force. Took.
He said he's not killing.
He's not killing.
Kidnapping.
Yes. How did we get here?
Kidnapping.
A man took us by force. Right? I took some of the natives by force. I'm going to repeat this. On his first day, October 12, 1492, the explorer wrote in his diary, I took some of the natives by force. Salakia, let me have you pull back before you do that. Okay. First day, I took some of the natives by force, right? Hold up 1 second. Okay, so this is Christopher Columbus, his first day. 21 and give me Exodus 21 and 16, Bible Patrol. Hold what you got in Psalms, but give me Exodus before that.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 21, verse 16. And he that stealeth a man.
He that what?
And he that stealeth a man.
Remember, Christopher Columbus used the Bible to find the Indians. And you can find that in a book called Lost Tribes and Promised Land. Yakan. Okay? What's it called? So he knew the scriptures. Christopher Columbus was a Christian. Keep going.
He that stealeth a man.
Keep going.
And selleth him.
And what?
And selleth him.
So if you steal a man and selleth him, keep going.
Or if he be found in his hand.
Or if it's found that you have this man, meaning what? You stole him, you kidnapped him, and you made him your personal slave. Right? Keep going.
He shall surely be put to death.
He shall what?
He shall surely be put to death.
He shall surely be put to death. Right? And that's what you're seeing not happening. You're not seeing our people being, these people being put to death. These people do not believe in the Bible. Okay? That's why it's very funny when you see those of our people who be like, that's a white man's book, or that's a white man's ideology. He doesn't follow it.
Right.
He has never followed the ideologies contained in the Bible. If he did, he would know that enslavement is unlawful.
Right.
Right? And we're the ones saying that. You know, the guys who go on the streets saying we're going to enslave white people and make them pick our cotton. Here's the difference what's the difference between what I say about a white man and what a white man did to me? Come.
If I may, sir, the scriptures, the Lord tells us that the people that did this to us is going to have that fate. He said, he that leadeth shall go into captivity.
Okay, yes, but you're not hitting it on the nail. I want one word. What's the difference between what I'm going to do to him and what he's going to do to him? And what he did to me? What's the difference?
Righteousness.
No. You're close. You're on it, but what's the difference? And this is a thing they put on us. Because it's been so long, they're able to play this trick on us. But in the end, we'll be able to do it to them, but we'll be righteous in doing it. I'll give you a hint. It's a J word.
Judgment.
Yes, that's a part of it, but another one.
What is it? Justified?
Justice.
Justice. Damn right.
Here's like you said it before. I didn't want to, but you said it. Your first answer was absolutely on the money. He who takes a captivity shall go into captivity. And like you said, judgment. What's the judgment? You're going to have this happen to you because of your actions. Right. I'm not just saying, waking up, I'd love to have a white man. A white man had me pick his cotton for 400 years. Right. The just thing in that instance is for him to pay me back by picking my cotton. Right. That's the difference. That's what it's about. It's about justice. And they don't understand it. That's the difference. Like, I'm not on the street because I want to make white people feel bad. I don't care about white people. And one thing you always want to remember, like, you'll see brothers always say this every once in a while, yeah, white people, this ain't for you. Y'all can keep going about your day. The only thing I got to say to a white man is get your gym membership right, because I'm going to need your back right. Okay? I'm not here. Like, what's it called? You got to understand, like, at the end of the day, and we're going to get into that too, what's it called? When it comes to our oppressor, like how do I say it? He's not, it's not necessarily about proving it to him. It's about showing our people and making sure we as a people understand that this is what has to happen. Right. he has to get justice for the crimes he did. This man literally, within the span of probably an hour or two, said, I'm going to enslave these people. That's Christopher Columbus. And they hail him as a hero. Like I said earlier, we've been here so long, our idea of justice is gone. Like, we don't understand there's a problem with the cats who are 2 doors down from us. Their whole existence is technically illegal from a certain mindset. They're on stolen land. How can a drug dealer talk anything about a pimp? How can a kidnapper talk ish about a rapist? Right. So our oppressor can't really be a just individual. And that's something people don't understand, right? He later found the original inhabitants to be tractable, peaceable, and concluded there is not in the world a better nation. Now, what's it called? Meaning what? He saw us as a nation he could get over on, right? He saw our people, the natives, a nation that he could destroy. And understand something for blacks that are listening, those of the Southern Kingdom who are called Negroes or West Indians or Haitians, these are your relatives. Like, understand something straight up. We're probably not going to get too deep into it. We were heavily integrated into Native American life. You're familiar with Maroons? Maroons. You've not heard of Maroons. The reason I ask is because I know you're familiar with a lot of Benjamin. Benjamin used to run into the woods. Benjamin will tell you this. Ask Benjamin what's a maroon. They'll tell you, yeah, niggas used to run from the plantation into the woods because a lot of Jamaica wasn't cut down yet. It was still used to be like forests and jungle. So they would run into the woods. Stupid Edomites would, actually it's in this book, stupid Edomites would find natives, like Dominicans and Puerto Ricans. Yo, your slaves ran away? No sweat, pay me and I'll, what's it called? Yeah, never came back. Just took their money and would leave. Basically, they were living with living with the Southern Kingdom brothers that left. Like, what's it called? Same thing you'll find up here up north. What's it called? We was running away so much, they said we have to make the Indians slave owners. Because maybe then they'll understand this is property and they won't like allow our property to just run, right? We've always been integrated into Native American society. So when you see simpletons try to be like, I'd have to get off stolen land and all that crap too. No, we don't. A majority of us have native blood in us, native blood in us, and the rest that don't. Our people have been cohabitating for centuries. Look up the Gullah Wars and the Seminole Wars, which are also located in this book. In this book, it's referred to as the Seminole Wars, but the Gullah Wars is the same thing. Yeah. One thing no one likes to teach you is that for about 100 years, Gad, Issachar, Reuben, and Judah, and possibly even a piece of Benjamin, were at war with the United States government. Right.
God. I remember I was reading something somewhere. There was something about how blacks used to escape to Mexico. And Americans used to be like, yo, give my slaves. And the Mexicans used to be like, ain't no black slaves here, just black citizens.
That's how Texas became Texas. Texas used to be Mexico until they got tired of that and said, no, this is ours now. Right. Con, that's a very big thing they used to do. Give me 55. You can start at verse 19. Okay. His response as a European, now let me reread Let me reread this. He later found the original inhabitants to be tractable, peaceable, and concluded there is not in the world a better nation. His response as a European was to say that Indians must be made to work, right? And adopt our ways, right? Meaning what? Enslave them. Right. Enslave them and destroy their culture. Right. That's exactly what Columbus had on his mind. Columbus knew full well, if you read a book, the same book by Ronald Sanders. Have you read that book? Yeah, you definitely want to try to get that one.
What's the name of it?
Lost Tribes.
Oh, Lost Tribes.
According to that, he went back into his ship minutes after coming off, looking and yelling for someone who spoke Shemitic. Right? Because he knew automatically. Mind you, he used the Bible to get here. He knew exactly who he was dealing with. He knew these were the people of God. But he thought this was okay. He thought that this was okay. And I'm going to have you give me another scripture, but I'm having you do this one first. Give me Psalms 55 and 19.
Come, sir. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 55, verse 19. God shall hear and afflict them, even he that abideth of old.
He that abideth of old. Who's he that abideth of old? That old serpent called the devil and Satan. Amen. Right? He's the one that abideth of old. And the Most High God is going to afflict him. Right? Just like he's afflicting him now. Thank God for the monkeypox.
Yeah, right.
Matter of fact, what's called? I'm so happy. I want to buy a Nintendo 64 and replay Donkey Kong 64. I'm so happy about that goddamn monkeypox. Yo, let there be another shutdown. I'm going down to 34 because I know it's about that settlement. That's our old system. Buy me a 64 and I'm going to play all Donkey Kong while this white man dies.
Damn right.
I'm going to play Donkey Kong, beat a level, then turn on CNN and watch some white people cry about their family died from some monkeypox. Okay? Keep going. Let's see why he's going to kill him. Keep going.
Salah. Because they have no changes.
Because what?
Because they have no changes.
Because what?
Because they have no changes.
The white man has not changed since Esau. Our oppressor has not changed since the garden. Our oppressor's only goal is to hurt us, right? And to be evil to us. They are a peaceable people. They must be made to work. That is he has not changed, right? This is our oppressor. This is who we've had to deal with, and he will never change. The Israelites School of Universal Practical Knowledge, as I was saying earlier, we're not out to teach you to really say, okay, we're not out to teach white people. We're out to teach our people. And what are we out to teach them? Not necessarily to hate white people. We're out to teach you he'll never change.
Right.
What you have is what you'll get.
Yeah, right.
This white man who said, there's not a more peaceable people on this earth. I need to enslave these people. That will never change. Right. That same being exists today.
Right.
Come.
No different than whatever devil that was in Congress a few years ago that said as long as there's a native Indian, we are at war.
Come.
The same spirit. They never change. They'll
never change.
Just seeking to destroy us.
They will always seek to destroy us as a nation. Okay? Keep going.
Come, sir. Therefore, they fear not God.
They fear not who?
Therefore, they fear not God.
Why don't they fear God? Come. Give me an example of what we're talking about.
Because they are attacking and destroying the Lord's children. You said that he went over there looking for somebody that speaks Shemitic, knowing that he's with ill intent to destroy them and kill them and act like you represent and love the Lord.
Right. And that's why, since we're in history class, even though it's not technically a divergence because it's on the subject, you've read Babylon and Timbuktu. So you're familiar. Ferdinand held off expelling his Jews until after Columbus left, right? You think that was a mistake? He knew if you going to see Israelites, you'll need a translator that can speak their language. Few of y'all go with him. There was about 3. If I'm not mistaken, I want to watch an old episode of Good Times because Michael mentions a Jake, supposedly, that traveled with Columbus. I want to see, it might be possible to link him and see, I want to see who that Jake actually is.
Right.
Con. But, yeah, Con. Con. Keep going.
Con, sir. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 55, verse 20. He hath put forth his hand against such as be at peace with him.
Right. Well, this is what Christopher Columbus said. This is what all these people did. They put forth their hand against people that were at peace with them. We did not want evil with these people. We just wanted to find trade, find out what there was. We were helping these people. Yeah. And we're going to find out later, like, how that worked out for us. Keep going.
Come, sir. He has broken his covenant.
And that's the thing. You cannot trust your oppressor. Your oppressor constantly breaks his covenant.
Right.
Your oppressor is constantly going back on his word.
Right.
Okay? Keep going.
Verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter.
Meaning what? He talks a good game. He talks like he's going to fix everything, right? But instead of helping you, he helps the Asian community. Right? He gives them a hate bill. You like understand, you can burn down a police station, you still won't get a bill in your name. The Asians didn't even cry. Like, I didn't see an Asian protest. Right? And it's like, I didn't see any of that. Like, you saw your little, like when you watch the news, like, oh, they were over here by 14th Street, Union Square. Or you might be watching a commercial and it'll be like, stop Asian hate. Like, but other than that, you didn't see what you saw with Black Lives Matter last summer. I mean, it's just, what's it called? But that's what happens. His words are smoother than butter. Keep going.
The words of his mouth were smoother than butter.
Right.
But war was in his heart.
But war was in his heart. What does that mean? Come.
That's the same spirit they have. They sit there and slick talk you, act like everything's smooth and good, but they really want to destroy you. They really dive and seek the destruction of you. They just want violence and bloodshed.
Right.
War is in their heart. They don't know nothing else but to fight and be animals.
Right. War is in their heart. What's the purpose of war, though? And it is important.
What's the purpose of war?
Come.
War brings peace sometimes.
Say what?
So war does bring peace sometimes.
No, but not in this instance. Yes, that can be one. But what's the purpose of war?
The purpose of war is to
and peace is subjective. Define peace.
Right, that's the truth. The person that loves is not at peace. I'm not sure, sir.
Okay, in this instance, gain. That's basically it.
Right.
Because you could say money and everything, but like you said, peace can be an example of war. So you gain something.
Right.
Right? What is in his heart? I want to gain off you. I've never seen a more peaceable people. They must be made to work, not be a business partner, not trade, not let's try to see their education system. Right? Made to work. I want to gain off these people. War was in Christopher Columbus's heart.
Right.
I'm going to do evil to them. I'm going to use force to gain off of these people. Right? Keep going.
Come, sir. But war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords.
His words were softer than oil. He came out, that's that legalese bullcrap. Right? You don't know what none of that bullcrap in the contract means. You know why? That's purposeful. It's a completely different language.
Right.
And that's not a word legalese is not a word I made up here on the spot. Legalese is an actual term for law language. What you read, why do you think you got to spend X amount of years inside of college, after college, in order to learn how to be a lawyer? Right. You have to learn a whole other language. Right. On top of the fact that half the things you're going to learn are Latin or some other language. Right? You and I could never truly be a lawyer. Right. Like brothers do it. Like my grandfather, he was fired from a parking lot for elder discrimination back in the 90s. He beat the hell out of me. But mind you, a few years later, he ended up having to take care of me, and that might have been the most high in doing all that. But it's not common. A 60, 70-year-old man with a freaking third grade education, I think my grandfather had, to beat a goddamn garage with $1 million lawyers. Right. That's not normal. Right. That doesn't happen. Like for every success of my grandfather, there's like 100 other cats who will never have that success. Right. Because what's called? I don't know how to read this crap. Right. And my grandfather was, and then even in that situation, my grandfather a 60-something-year-old man who was fired because he was elderly. You know what? He had nothing but time to read law books. Right. So yeah, you and I won't have that, what's it called? So their words will be smoother and better than us.
God. Like so ain't that one of the scriptures that says knowledge is
right.
Something about leisure, we'll have time.
Right. And the sister that helped, and my aunt, the one that helped him out, was a diabetic who was basically stayed in the house. Right. She had a computer. She made labels on the computer. Right. So all her time was just reading and doing all that. And so yeah, they were able to beat that case very easily because they had no what's it called. But them, they don't have that luxury. We don't have that luxury. General Muhammad himself said, with all the intelligence brothers have in here, get a lawyer. Yeah, you have a problem with a course, get a lawyer. Do not try to defend yourself. Yeah, you'll put yourself under the jail. Right. Okay, let's get back into this. Christopher Columbus, whose unique seamanship encouraged and opened the Americas to European penetration. Interesting word they use. Also began the transatlantic slave trade. And let me explain this to you. Okay, for all those who try to create a division between us, Hispanics were the first people to be traded across the Atlantic, right? By shipping 10 chained Arawak men and women to Seville, Spain. In 1498, he wrote enthusiastically to King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella about the business possibilities. Give me Zechariah 11:5. From here, in the name of the Blessed Trinity, we can send all the slaves that can be sold. He loaded 1,100 Taino men and women aboard 4 Spanish ships. The crowding in the stormy Atlantic crossing took a fearful toll. Only 300 survived. But Columbus and Spain had decided to continue the profitable slave trade from the Americas. Seville, Spain became the slave capital of Spain, right? Meaning what? He killed 800 people. But what did he say at the end of it? It's good business. You killed 800 people, but that's good business, right? Spanish priests were the first to denounce the horrors of bondage, right? In 1511, Dominican friar Montesinos called slavery a mortal sin and said cruelty and tyranny over Indians could not be justified by Christians. A few years later, Bishop Las Casas, who had witnessed countless Indian massacres by his fellow Spaniards, blamed greed for the horrors, right? They kill them because they want to be rich and have much gold, which is their sole aim. Las Casas concluded that in the New World, Spaniards had become devils and Indians were the only true Christians. And that's the truth. Why? Because our people understood the law, even though we weren't keeping it properly, and this is why this was allowed to happen to us. But at the end of the day, we were actually a decent race of people. They weren't. Right. They were actually the barbarians. They were the ones who needed to be civilized. Right. Read what you got.
Oh, come, sir.
Okay. And they did it in the name of the Blessed Trinity, right? And remember that when you're reading this. Keep going.
This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 11, verse 5. Whose possessors slay them.
Whose possessors do what?
Whose possessors slay them.
Their possessors slay them. Keep going.
And hold themselves not guilty.
Keep going. And hold themselves not guilty. Meaning what? These people are going around killing us, and they think they're doing the work of God. Right. They think this is the Blessed Trinity.
They think it's good business.
They think it's good business. They think it is good business to put you to kill our people. They thought it was good business to have a betting pool between 2 cats clawing their way out of a pregnant woman's stomach. They thought it was good business to take little Haitian boys and grown men and put them inside of a coliseum or inside of an auditorium, put them upside down, put a funnel in their rectum, fill it with gunpowder, and then they blow them up from the inside. They thought that was good business and good entertainment, right? This is who needed to be civilized, right? Those who needed to be looked at and scrutinized, right? But they're the ones doing the slave. They're the ones doing the possessing. Because our people our people don't want to follow our laws. Keep going.
Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty.
Come.
And they that sell the same. Blessed be the Lord.
Blessed be who?
Blessed be the Lord.
No, but all.
Blessed be the Lord.
No, Nimrod.
Blessed be the Lord.
No, Ishtarah.
Blessed be the Lord.
Buddha.
Blessed be the Lord.
Muhammad.
Blessed be the Lord.
So what are they saying? Who did this to us? Right. Which isn't wrong. Right? So who do they, right, but why are they saying this? They're trying to do what? Come.
They're trying to create the impression that they're serving the Lord.
Yeah, yes, but a little more. Like, come.
They're trying to act like they're men of the Lord?
Huh?
They're trying to act like they're men of the Lord, doing the Lord's work?
Somewhat, yes. It's less about necessarily serving the Most High. Read it again from the top.
Oh, come, sir. This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 11, verse 5. Whose possessors slay them,
Right.
and hold themselves not guilty.
Why?
Why they hold themselves not guilty?
Right.
Because he's a deaf adder. But
no.
Because they believe they're doing something good.
Why? Keep reading.
There is no understanding with him.
Well, no, keep reading. Because they explain it.
And they that sell the same, blessed be the Lord.
Keep going.
For I am rich.
Keep going.
And their own shepherds pity them not.
So why do they hold themselves not guilty?
Because they're rich and our shepherds don't pity us.
Not necessarily, no. Who gave them the riches? Who put us in this position? Who gave them the riches? Who gave them the riches? Because they're saying what?
They're saying the Lord gave them the riches?
Right. So how did the Lord give them the riches?
By allowing them to take the children into captivity.
So why are they not blameless?
Because they're saying the Lord allowed it to happen.
Right. In the name of the Blessed Trinity. You get it now? Understand it because it's hard for us to do it now because those ideals have died out consciously. And what I mean is, white people will look at you stupid if you go out with the notion of God wanted slavery to happen. White people look at you like you're crazy. But 200 years ago, look up. You've heard of the curse of Ham. You can't go out teaching that now, but matter of fact, I was watching a video the other day of some stupid woman, the congresswoman or something, saying, "Yeah, I'm glad for slavery. Yeah, if it wasn't for slavery, we'd still be in Africa on trees and yeah." But she's considered a weirdo. She's automatically gonna go viral. Like, look at this stupid. Like, you understand? But the majority of our people, like, you know what I mean? That's how it used to be, though. This is what happened. We do this in the name of the Blessed Trinity. God wants you to get beaten and put on the street, and your women raped, and your men raped. Even though the Bible says don't be a homosexual, God wants me to have a gay brothel full of black men and boys. The white man is the devil, the Bible speaks.
Damn right.
Okay, right. Their own shepherds pity them not. Okay, now another thing you have to understand is they were killing a lot of the good shepherds that would pity. And they were only allowing the weaklings, the cowards, to stay in power.
Right.
Keep going. You in Zechariah, right? We're going to drop that. We're going to start to, what time is it, like 8:30? 8:26?
Almost.
Yeah, calm. All right, we're going to start to get a bit of this. Okay. So now we're going to get a bit of the American side of the history. For those who don't know and are unaware why we're going into Native history today, it's been discovered over the past, I guess, month now. Several schools inside of Canada are being used, basically, what's called our burial grounds. They were secretly killing children of Native Americans, right? After forcibly taking these children away from their families, right? They would beat them, force them to forget their culture, okay? And then if they refused, they would be killed. Or they would be tortured, or worse, or raped, or sexually abused, right? These are the things they were doing that the Catholic Church was doing to children. Now, I'm not going to stay too long on that because that's not hard to believe. Matter of fact, you still got your hand on 55 Psalms?
I'll get it right now, sir.
Come on, get it real quick. Right, yeah, these were Catholic schools. Read 19 again.
Come. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 55, verse 19. God shall hear and afflict them.
And a sword day is coming to that Catholic Church. Why? Keep going.
Even he that abideth of old.
Keep going.
SHALAM. Because they have no changes.
Because what?
Because they have no changes.
Because what?
Because they have no changes.
So, Quash, question. Is it hard to believe, like, would you believe me if I told you the Catholics are over there raping little indigenous kids?
Come.
Why? Why does it?
If I may, because they do it right now.
They do it right now.
Come.
Right now, some little boy, some altar boy, is being molested. Yo, can you imagine in this 21st century society, there is an altar boy getting text messages from the father? There's probably some altar boy getting sexually explicit text messages from the father. By father, I mean the priest.
Right.
Like, cats, like what's called? I remember I knew a Catholic priest. Like he was a monk. He was telling me they found one little because there's monasteries and there's convents, right? The monasteries where the men live, the convents where the women live. You might have two of them like right next to each other, but they'll be separate because nobody's supposed to. Know what I mean? Yeah, an underground passage.
Right.
At that point, look, like I'm gonna just because we ain't gonna stay too long on the Catholics. Understand the Catholic idea of celibacy is stupid. Like Paul himself said, let them take wives. I'm gonna just throw your whole doctrine out after that. Like your doctrine needs to be thrown away once I have that law.
Right.
Like here's a better one. Jesus, what's called? I'm gonna pull up the scripture where it says Jesus healed Peter's mother-in-law. The first pope, yeah, he had a wife. Get that up out of here. Right. Bye. The first pope had a wife. Put that in your notes. Okay, the first pope had a wife. You should not be out here raping children. To avoid fornication, what's that? What's fornication? Unlawful sex, like sex with a little boy?
Right.
Like raping small children that you're supposed to be educating?
Right.
Yeah, let them take wives. Find one of them nuns and get it on. Don't rape little children.
Right.
But this is an evil religion. Catholicism is evil.
Right.
Okay? So that's what happens. Our children get raped. Our children get killed. Our children are kidnapped, basically. Because you're going to find out they wouldn't even let them go home for summers.
Right.
Okay? Okay, this is Black Indians, page 207. In 1877, as people of color faced a terrifying future, Sitting Bull rose to address his fellow leaders at the Powder River Council. He began by remembering the white foe as small and feeble when our forefathers first met them, but now great and overbearing. So what is he saying here?
So he began by saying they was feeble?
Right. By remembering the white foe as small and feeble when our forefathers first met them, but now great and overbearing.
The white ancestors were small and feeble.
Right.
It's probably fair. It was good. And you look at them as a threat.
Right. You have to understand one thing, huh?
I said, hey, look at them as a threat.
Right. Okay. One thing you have to understand is our oppressor or the European has an MO for what he did to us. Like, what he did to us, he basically did to the Sabians. Like the original Greeks and the original Italians. These were all melanated people. These were Noah's son Japhet. Those were his kids. Come.
Is that why they still hate the Italians? Who? The other oppressors, they would push the Italians off?
No, oppressors hated oppressors. Oppressors are stupid. Right. Like, our beef is really based off, like, slavery and just Jake is separate. Jake is just divided. Jake is just separate like that. But their beef is really like, you're not me, so like Jake has that problem, but mainly because of Esau. Right. Like Esau really just what? Like Esau really hates Italians because Italians not English. Like that's why that is. But those Italians are still devils too. What I'm talking about is like before Alexander. Right. Alexander's father took Macedonia from dark melanated people. Right. Basically, they come in and they introduce themselves as they amended, small and feeble, which isn't wrong. They introduce themselves as someone small, feeble, weak, someone you don't think of as a threat. They come in, they learn how your society works, they learn like how to be independent on your land, then they get rid of you. That's their MO. That's what they did to the Greeks and the Italians and the Thabians and those people. That's what they did to the native Indians. I don't know how to grow things over here. Like corn, beans, and pumpkins have to be grown like together in a system. Like first you have to do corn, then when that's done, you put pumpkins in. After the pumpkins are done, you put beans in. If you don't do it like that, you'll destroy the ground and you'll starve in about 20 years because the ground will be destroyed. You don't readily know that though. The natives do. So take a generation or two, learn how to live on the land, and then kill them. That's their MO, right? And he's explaining this to the people. But now, great and overbearing. I don't need you anymore. So this pumpkin patch or whatever, this is mine now, right? Strangely enough, they had a mind to till the soil, and the love of possessions is a disease in them. Because that's all they care about is greed and gain. That's all our oppressors care about. You gotta understand, like, the Northern Kingdom, because of the society they lived in, had a different idea of wealth. Like, can you imagine your idea of wealth if in your backyard there's a literal mountain of silver? Like, you'll wake up, there'll be 5 like chunks of silver from birds just carrying it. Like in your backyard. Like your children will skip silver stones. And not even like, that's not even the heaviest part about it. You know what the heaviest part about it is? While you're waking up, going to sleep and doing all that, you have no idea that the crap littered across your backyard, people are literally dying, selling children, selling wives, selling their entire life's work for what you have littered around your backyard. People are starting literal wars for what you have millions of. Your idea of possession and greed is different from mine. You know what's hard for me to come by? Peacock feathers. You know, it's hard for me to come by certain types of dye. Meaning, like, if I want a purple shirt, I might have to go all the way to freaking North Dakota, because that's the only place I got it. I live in goddamn Mexico. Now, how expensive that would be for me? That's a difference, right? Our levels of what's called, their level of possession is almost a disease to them. Why? Because they'll die for it. Our oppressor will literally sit here and die for gold. Okay? These people have made many rules that the rich may break, but the poor may not. They have a religion in which the poor worship, but the rich will not. Meaning, that's not saying rich white people don't go to heaven. That's saying rich white people don't adhere to Christian morals, we'll say. I don't want to use the law because they don't adhere to the law. But they don't adhere to Christian morals. Right? They even take tithes of the poor and weak to support the rich and those who rule. Now, who else does that? Mind you, this is talking about our oppressor, but who else does that?
Every empire that's been on the earth.
No.
I'm gonna read it from the poor, right?
Take tithes of the poor and weak to support the rich and those who rule.
America.
But who specifically? We're talking about the so-called white man. Who specific? But who else does that? Our pastors.
Go.
Our pastors go. Why am I saying that? Where do they learn it from? And here's the thing you gotta understand. This is an observation. Now, mind you, some of them might have been under these white people's thumb, under our oppressor's thumb, but many of them have been observing this is what white people do to other white people. And that's the point. Like, y'all want to be equal with, and y'all want to emulate a goddamn animal who don't even love himself. Like you were saying about the Italians, why they don't like the Italians. The white man's a beast. He's an a-hole. You understand Ireland is a part of the UK, right?
Ireland?
Ireland, yes. Yeah, Ireland is a part of the UK. Britain, Scotland, and Ireland are all the same land mass, right? It's all the same body of land, right? Yet, when the Irish started coming over around the end of the Civil War, no Irish need apply. Realize some of y'all probably got Irish grandmas and great-grandmas. No Irish need apply, F you. And you're Catholic? Yeah, we're all Protestants. We may all be white, but yeah, get up out of here. That's him. That's how he treats his own. Right? Okay? They claim this mother of ours, the earth, for their own use. Give me Lamentations 4. 4 and I want to say... It's a lot. Give me 1 second.
For the unknown steps.
Salavia, 1 second. Salavia, 1 second. Hold on. Salavia, bear with me 1 second. Give me, okay, Slakia. Give me 2. They claim this mother of ours, the earth, for their own use. 5 and 2, Slakia, 5 and 2. Okay, keep going, read.
This is the book of Lamentations, chapter 5, verse 2. Our inheritance is turned to strangers.
Okay, right. Christopher Columbus was a stranger who was able to take over our land. Keep going.
Our houses
to aliens.
To aliens.
Right, keep going.
Verse 3. We are orphans and fatherless.
Why? Because Columbus said that your parents need to be made to work. Right? So now you're orphans and fatherless. Keep going.
Our mothers are as widows.
Okay, keep going.
We have drunken our water for money.
We have drunken our water for money. And fenced their neighbors away from her and deface her with their buildings and their refuse. Meaning what? They were what's called a way America works. You can't collect rainwater. That is a ticket.
Right.
That is a ticketable offense. You have to pay your oppressor if you try to collect the water that falls out the ground.
Right.
That falls out the sky.
Right.
Like, really think about that.
Right.
Like, the white man thinks he's God. Like, this is why the Bible says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? You really think you God, my G? Like, Con, what you gonna say?
I was gonna say, I lived out in Florida. I know it's illegal to collect rainwater.
Huh?
I was about to say, I lived out there in Florida. I know it's illegal to collect rainwater.
Wait, why they go hard over it in Florida? Why Florida? No, but I'm asking, like, why do people normally collect rainwater out there?
I don't know. That was the first time I ever heard it.
Yeah, but it's illegal to collect rainwater. It is illegal to collect rainwater. Okay? They compel her to produce out of season. And when sterile, she is made to take medicine in order to produce again. All this is sacrilege. That's why we have a law that you can't till the ground for, we have a Sabbath for the ground. The ground does have a Sabbath, right? And you should respect it. And notice they call it sacrilege. Sacrilege isn't like, sacrilege denotes a religious affiliation. Meaning you are going against the will of God when you do this. How do they know that? They know these records. They know who they are. There's records, I gotta find the exact book, but the Native Indians, like speaking on the Bible, said, yeah, y'all gave our records back to us when you gave us this. Meaning what? We've been had this. This is our book. Okay? As former slaves were reduced to landless peasants, working for their former owners in the South, Native American life faced unrelenting assault in the West. President Chester A. Arthurs, Secretary of the Interior, announced he would outlaw Native customs deemed contrary to civilization and ban traditional ceremonies, dances, and songs. But worse was being planned. In 1887, Congressman Charles Dawes' General Allotment Act, also called the Dawes Act, passed Congress to civilize, Christianize, and reform savages. Indians, Dawes said, had to learn selfishness, and this meant cultivate the grounds, live in houses, ride in Studebaker wagons, send children to school, drink whiskey. Why the hell do you care if I drink whiskey or not? And own property. Congress struck a lethal blow at centuries of Native American identity, philosophy, religion, culture, and community. The Dawes Act also ordered the largest American property transfer in history on the claim Native Americans could not take care of their land. But the Native, who taught you to take care of yours?
Sure.
Right? A few Native Americans received 160 acres per family. But since few could read and even fewer understood U.S. legal language, these Native Americans briefly became landowners and then poor and landless peasants the rest of their lives. In less than half a century, indigenous Americans lost 90,000 acres of land, 2/3 of what they owned. 90,000 people became landless in the country of their ancestors. Thousands of acres passed to eager white homesteaders seeking their American dream, but most went to railroad builders and speculators. Native Americans were economically crushed. Additionally, the Dawes Act acted against Native American society. In the name of Christian education and assimilation, it carefully sought to destroy family and community life, right? And this is the point, because everybody's talking about goddamn Canada, but here's the truth. It's not just Canada. Children were taken from their parents and sent to schools run by Protestant missionaries. So what? It wasn't just Catholics, it was Protestants as well. Your Southern Baptist Church, the church or religion of the KKK, was educating Native children, right? Were taken from their parents and sent to schools run by Protestant missionaries. Brother was separated from brother, sister from sister, and then separated from anyone who spoke their language. Meaning we are going to force you to speak English. Speaking a native language while making contacts that reinforce their native heritage were severely punished. You were not allowed to speak with other native kids. Far from home, children were thrust into classrooms and instructed in the values of Christianity and private ownership. Why? Because they want you to become greedy. Why? Because they wanted to destroy the spirit of community inside of the Native Indian. Right. What's the spirit of community? Well, there is no I have, there's only we have. Right. It is impossible to destroy a nation like that. Because the minute I hit you, I just hit about 500 people. Right. You can't control those people. You can't do anything to them without starting a problem. Right. Right? So they needed to put the spirit of individualism inside of our nation. The spirit of greed and individualism that you see inside of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians is not natural. Right. It is an unnatural phenomenon put in place by our oppressors and the oppression that we've been under. Right. Black people are not greedy people. No. Okay? To avoid their slipping back to Indian ways during summers, pupils were not sent home. This is kidnapping. That's it. This is kidnapping, brainwashing, and reprogramming. Right? They became work apprentices for Christian families who taught them discipline and civilized values. Abuse was common, unreported, and not corrected. By 1889, T.J. Morgan, Commissioner of Indian Affairs, was pleased to report important progress, including socialism destroyed among Native Americans. Morgan issued new demands and threats. The Indians must conform to the white man's ways, peaceably if they will, forcibly if they must. They must adjust themselves to their environment and conform their mode of living substantially to our civilization. They cannot escape it and must either conform to it or be crushed by it. Now,
if I may, sir, when Manager YAHANNA was talking about this on the show, right, and he was showing the pictures of the brothers, right? How they used to come in there and how they made them look after they broken them. After you see all the spirit ripped off of them. It's just disgusting what they were doing. So.
Right. Give me 28 and verse 15 to start off.
Deuteronomy.
Come.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28.
It's 28, right?
Yeah, 58. 15, sorry. 28 and 15.
Chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Okay, we come out and teach our people with these curses who they are, their identity. Okay, what's called, these are the chosen people of God that these people wanted to enslave and capture and kidnap their children. Right? Now we're about to read and find out some of the curses to prove this fact. Read.
To observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day.
Right?
That all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Keep going. Okay, now drop that. Give me 31. Okay, so we'll be cursed, and let's see what some of these curses are.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 31. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes.
Thy what?
Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes.
Your ox is going to be slain before your eyes. Keep going.
And thou shalt not eat thereof.
Your ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Keep going.
Thine ass shall be violently taken away from thee before thy face.
Okay. Meaning what? What is this talking about?
Take away your donkey, right? Take away your
right.
Mule.
But what is this really talking about? What's the point of this?
You need the donkey for farming purposes, right?
I do.
Don't they help pull the?
Well, yeah, right. But why?
Why do they do that?
Your copy.
To get the ground nice and ready so you can farm and get some food.
Okay, you're not giving it. Okay, okay. Basically, what is he really talking about? Oh wait, what is he really talking about? He's talking about the things that will be stolen from you.
Right.
Right? That's what he means. Okay, you're gonna lose your ass, you're gonna lose your ox, which is food, which is also used to sow your ground, and you're gonna use your ass. Shall be violently taken from you. They're gonna be stolen.
Right.
Right? The things Who is that? That's SHALAM, you have Shema to don't take it. Don't take it for right now. Give me 2 seconds, I'm about to end off. Alright, copy. Okay, keep going. I'm about to end off now.
Thine ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and shall not be restored to thee.
Meaning you're not going to have it back. Keep going.
Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemies.
Unto thine enemies. Keep going.
And thou shalt have none to rescue him.
Run to rescue them. Meaning what? All these things were taken from the native Indians. They lost their land, they lost their sheep, they lost everything. And nobody could rescue them from it. Keep going.
Good. Verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters.
Thy what?
Thy sons and thy daughters.
Thy what?
Thy sons and thy daughters.
So let's see what happens to your sons and your daughters. Keep going.
Shall be given unto another people.
Shall be given unto another people. Keep going.
And thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long.
Meaning what? You'll always want to see your children back. Keep going.
And there shall be no might in thine hand.
And there's going to be no might in your hands. Right? You're going to lose them and never see them again. Right? Why?
Because the Catholic Church is going to take your children and make them be like the oppressor.
Right.
So even if you do see them, they won't be the children that you remember.
Right. They probably won't even be able to speak the same language as you. Our oppressor needs to be put in cages.
That's right.
This is why we say the things that we do.
Yeah, right.
Like, you know how goddamn sick that is? That is sick. To do to somebody in a child.
Right.
People ask us like we crazy or something's wrong with us. Nah, something is wrong with you. If you don't feel the way I feel, like something like You're the one with the mental disability.
Right.
Keep going. Give me 49.
Oh, concept. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth.
Right, and that's exactly what happened. A nation from the other side of the world came, right, and keep going.
As swift as the eagle flieth.
And what's America's symbol? The eagle. What's Britain's symbol? The eagle. Keep going.
A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
And we didn't understand a goddamn word this white man was saying, right? Damn Columbus. Even those of us that did understand how to read and write, we didn't understand that law was written in a completely different type of language, in a completely different like speech pattern. Keep going, basically.
A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor shew favor to the young.
Nor show favor to the young. Right? And that's what they did. They didn't care that they're like, I believe they found a baby as young as 2 amongst the dead. You imagine someone coming in your house and taking your 2-year-old, talking about they're gonna never see your child again. Like, people think we're crazy or something's wrong with us. Like, nah, like there's nothing wrong with me. Like, give me 64 real quick, and then go into Apocrypha after that. Give me 64.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth, even unto the other.
Right.
And there thou shalt serve other gods.
Thou shalt serve other gods, and that's what they put our people to do. They sent some of our people across to Spain. They sent them to these goddamn schools to learn their religion. Let's keep going. How to serve their gods.
Which neither thou nor thy fathers have known.
Right? Because their ancestors didn't worship those gods. Right? Now give me Baruch 4:1 in the Apocrypha. Like, people think we're just crazy, or we're just saying this, or we're just some angry black men. Like, there's a reason I feel the way I do. Like, there's a reason I want to see white babies burned. Like, I want to see my oppressors in chains.
This is the book of Baruch, chapter 4, verse 1.
Salakia. Is it 3? Salakia 3 and give me 3 and 1.
Come, sir. This is the book of Baruch, chapter 3, verse 1. Lord Almighty, God of Israel, the soul in anguish, the troubled spirit, crieth unto thee.
And that's what we need. Our people need to have a troubled spirit, knowing that little 2-year-olds were taken from their families and never to be returned. Right? These families have to experience that. Like, can you imagine that was your aunt? Like, that was your what's called, like, imagine like going over your friend's house and you just see a aunt, like, you got an aunt who's always in a rocking chair looking out a window, and you just ask them one day, yo, why your aunt like that? Yeah, the government came and took a baby and they never gave him back. And she just is always out that window hoping. That was 30 years ago. That was 50 years ago. That was 70 years ago. That woman died. Drop that, give me verse 4, because we don't end it off. Your spirit has to be troubled in order to cry like that. Keep going.
It's the book of Baruch in the Apocrypha, chapter 3, verse 4. Almighty, thou God of Israel, Hear now the prayers of the dead Israelites.
You keep and what?
Hear now the prayers of the dead Israelites.
The dead Israelites. All those children that they're finding in Canada, all the ones that they're not bothering to find in America, right? God is going to hear their prayers. Keep going.
And of their children.
And of who?
And of their children.
And of who?
And of their children.
Those children who died prayed to God, to the Most High Power. And He's going to hear their prayer. He will answer the prayer of those children. Keep going.
Which have sinned before thee, and not hearkened unto the voice of their God.
Right? So now what? We sinned against our power, right? And we didn't listen to Him. So this was allowed to happen. Okay? What's it called? But that's the point. We as a people need to remember the death of our people matters.
Right.
Okay? Because it matters to the Most High. Hear now the prayer of the dead Israelites. Show me where it says, hear now the prayer of the dead Egyptians. Hear now the prayer of the dead flood victims. Hear now the prayer of the dead Babylonians. You don't see that. But you do see, hear now the prayer of the dead Israelites. Because the Israelites matter to God. The Catholics don't. The Protestants don't. The conquistadors don't. Christopher Columbus doesn't matter to God. Okay? But Hatsuwe did. And with that, I'll pass the class over to prison officer Quash.
Clap it up for God.